Hello, this is Merrill Jenks with the Big Helper Real Estate Group coming to you with a new market update for the Phoenix metro area. A little bit of Monday morning market madness for you today, although it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, so it's not Monday morning anymore. But promise to share some really valuable information with you. The biggest news on everyone's mind right now is regarding interest rates and what kind of an impact do we expect these interest rates to have on the housing market. So that is what we're going to spend some time talking about today. But really trying to do it through the data and showing you what we're seeing so far, and maybe pull out our crystal ball and see if we can try to make some predictions for the future. I am going to do it a little differently. If you've watched any of my shows in the past, I often just share the numbers. Today, I've got them all written down on a document here that I'm going to share, so that you can actually see them. I think maybe being able to see them instead of seeing my talking head might help people understand them a little bit better. Let me know whether you like this format or you hate it. Oh, shoot. Okay, well, that might not work. Apparently, my StreamYard has lost permission to be able to share my screen. So I guess you're just going to have to listen to it. All right. Right now, active on the market, we only have 5,476 listings. There are roughly 11,997 listings that are currently pending or under contract. And we have 8,748 homes that have closed in the past 30 days. So we like to look at a number called the month supply of inventory, which is we just literally take the active and divide it by how many homes sold in the past 30 days to give us a saturation rate. Like how long, if no new homes were to come on the market, assuming that another 8,748 homes will sell over the next 30 days, how long would it take for everything to be gone? And right now it's sitting at 0.63, meaning that roughly 16 days, if no new homes came on the market in 16 days, everything that's currently active on the market would be gone. And to give you an idea, we believe that we haven't been there in so long, it's hard to know, but we believe that a balanced market has somewhere between 4 and 6 months supply of inventory. If there was between 4 and 6 months supply of inventory, then that would mean that there's enough homes for buyers to choose from, to where they're not multiple offers on most properties, and they have some choices and they might be able to negotiate a little bit. But for the most part, home prices would probably be very stable, probably not falling, because it's not like buyers have one of 20 houses that they could choose from that they love. Just a nice balanced few decent options out there that you might want to buy that you could be equally as happy with. Less than 4 months supply of inventory, you're in a seller's market, right? And greater than 6 months supply, now you're starting to move into a buyer's market where we would actually expect home values to begin declining. So we're at 0.63 for our month supply of inventory right now, which is obviously still extremely on the seller's market side. Now, here's the thing, though. As you probably know, interest rates have been rising, and we have seen a slight slowdown in the number of homes that are going under contract. There's more homes are being listed right now at a slightly faster pace than they are selling at. Exactly 4 weeks ago today, our month supply of inventory was 0.54. So we were at 0.54. We're now at 0.63. In other words, the month supply of inventory has gone up 0.09 over the past month. But in order to reach a balanced market, that means that we need to continue to grow at 0.0. If that pace were to continue, it would need to continue for 37 weeks just before we would reach a balanced market, let alone a. Actually, I think it's longer than that. I think I might have messed up on my math on that, actually. It's not 0.09 a week that it's going up. It's 0.09 a month that it's going up. So 37 months. I apologize. So at that growth, we need 3 years of inventory to increase at the pace at which it's been increasing before we would even reach a balanced market. That's how dire and how low our inventory situation is currently. Now let's shift gears a little bit, move on from the month supply of inventory, and talk about. And by the way, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to post it in the comments. I should be able to see the questions on here. If I don't see them, I always do my best to get back and answer them later. So let's move on to our average sales price. So in the past 30 days, the average sales price for homes that sold in our MLS was, and it's a pretty large sample size, so little outliers are not going to typically have a hugely dramatic impact. Almost 9,000 homes that have sold in the past 30 days. The average sales price was $578,401. And those homes were selling for an average of 102% of the list price. So, on average, homes are going 2% above the price that sellers are selling them at, with an average price of almost 580,000. Now, if we go back exactly 3 months, so the average sales price from December 18th through January 18th, it was 536,000, and the average sold to list price ratio was exactly 100%, meaning that the homes were selling for right at the asking price. So the market's actually a little hotter now than it was even in December and January when rates were lower. So average sales price in the past 3 months alone has increased by $42,262, which is roughly 8% in just 3 months. And honestly, the median, I don't have the data, unfortunately, for the median home price, but I believe it's gone up even more than that. And so, and one thing I was going to share, and I'm totally bummed that I'm not able to share my screen with you. I'll have to figure out the permissions on this. But despite the rising rates, and I'm going to talk more about rates here in a second, despite the rising rates, we actually expect the average sales price to increase significantly over the next 30 to 60 days. And here's how I know this. We work with a lot of buyers, and we're seeing multiple offers still on most homes. But also as a team, we had 4 listings that went under contract over this past weekend. All really beautiful listings. I'm going to have to post these in the comments or something like that so you could see them. But the average of these 4 above list price was more. One of them was a $700,000 house. One of them was a $400,000 house. One of them was a $600,000 house, and one was $450,000. One was in Santan, one's in Casa Grande. And 2 of them were in Gilbert. Oh, I'm sorry, one was in Chandler and one was in Gilbert. And on average, those homes sold for about $42,000 above the list. Excuse me, above the list price. And the thing is that those homes were not priced below the market to create bidding wars. They were already priced according to, hey, we're in a hot market and here's the most recent comps, and we're pricing it at the high end of those comps, and it's still selling for more than $40,000 above the list price. So yeah, we're still seeing prices, go way above. So I anticipate that we're going to see average prices increase by another $20,000 or $30,000 before the summer is up. Now, the big news, of course, is interest rates. So I'm finally going to move on and talk to you about interest rates. So interest rates back in December were roughly 3%, 3.1%, 3.05%. On November 10th, they were 2.98%. By the way, I'm getting this data from Freddie Mac. Let me see if I can post this link into the video here for you. There's a way to pin it, but I'm not super clear on how to. Oh, here we are. I think I have to say show. There we go. So that freddiemac.com/PMMS. If you go to that link, it shows you a really helpful chart and graph of what average rates are and what they have been. And the blue line is what the rates for a 30-year fixed rate mortgage are, which is what most people get. And again, back in December, November, around 3%, and it literally just last week hit an average of 5%. So literally rates have gone up by 2% in just about 3 or 4 months, which is a very steep and catastrophic climb. And so we are, getting pretty concerned about affordability. So let me just give you an example and talk to you about these numbers. In December, if you bought the average priced home, which was $536,169, and you financed that average priced home at a 3% interest rate and you put 10% down, average down payment, then your principal and interest payment, I'm not going into taxes and insurance and HOA because there's too many variables, but just your principal and interest payment on that would have been $2,034.36. Now, if you bought an average price home today at $578,401, and then you now have to finance it at 5%, your average your principal and interest payment would be $2,794.48. In other words, the same house, you're still just buying an average house. The monthly payment on the same house has now increased by $700 a month, which is going to have an impact at some point on our market. And I do believe that's why we've started to see inventory the month supply of inventory increase, but just at a very slow pace. It actually feels right now like a lot of buyers are like, oh, we've got to hurry up and get in now before interest rates continue to get worse. So at the moment, it seems to be creating a frenzy, and buyers are still rushing to buy. But please keep in mind that we need to reach a 4-month supply of inventory, at least, maybe 5 months, but let's just call it 4 to be conservative. A 4-month supply of inventory just to reach a balanced market. So we're still so far away from a balanced market that we still have a very serious supply and demand situation. And here's what I ultimately believe, because we work with a lot of buyers. Not a lot of clients are saying, oh, forget it, I'm not going to buy anymore, I'm just going to go live in a box. No, people still have to live somewhere. So what's going to happen instead of suddenly no one is buying is people are just going to have to, people still have to live somewhere. I mean, people in California and wherever, even though the prices are so high, they're still living in places. They just kind of lower their expectations of what they can get. $1 million in certain parts of California isn't going to get you much better than a box, depending on the land it's sitting on. And so the point is, if you used to qualify for a $600,000 house, you might decide, well, I still have to buy a house, but now I'm only going to spend $500,000. And so I believe what's going to happen is we're going to see an extremely high amount of pressure on the low end. So someone did ask me earlier. I'll go ahead and post the question. If I'm a seller, do you think I should be in a rush to list, or do you think I have another year or so to be in a good position to list? Now, again, obviously, I don't have a crystal ball, but we've got it, in my opinion. Okay, and I own 9 investment properties plus our primary residence. My wife and I own. In my opinion, we're not. I believe that the values will continue to rise, but at a much more subdued rate. We've got inflation at 8%, and that's going to probably partially continue to drive home prices a little bit. But I don't believe that we're heading for a crash. Like, this time is not like 2008. And I'll have to do another episode because this one's getting too long, but I'll do another episode on all the reasons why this is not 2008. I don't believe that we're heading for some massive crash. And oh my gosh, if you own a home, you better sell it now. No, inventory is still so dramatically low despite the rising rates. I believe that home values will, at worst case scenario, stabilize and stop rising at a rate of 10 and 20% a year, and probably eventually just flatten out. But right now, and for the next couple of months at least, maybe for the next year, inventory is still so low that buyers just don't have any choices. The rates are the rates, and they're just ponying up and paying it. Plus, as you know, we're still dealing with a ton of buyers coming from California and other more expensive markets where they just sold their much more expensive home and they're putting down huge down payments. So let's say you're buying a $600,000 house, but you're putting $300,000 down or more. The interest rate doesn't hurt you as badly as a first-time home buyer who is financing almost the entire purchase price. And so the lower end is going to get squeezed big time. And so it also depends on the price point of your home. If you're sort of thinking about selling now versus a year from now, I think the price range that your home is in also has an impact. If your home is under, well, it depends on what city you're in as well, because but for the most part, if you just take the Phoenix metro area, if your house is under $500,000 or so, in my opinion, you're going to be absolutely fine to wait, and the value of your house will continue to rise because the low end is just going to be squeezed even harder than it has been ever before with these rising rates. Not that 500,000 is low end. I just mean, compared to the rest of the market, it's below the average sales price. And then if you're above that average sales price, if your house is in the 600s or more, we might see the market slow down a little bit more. But I still don't think, even if you have $1 million home or a $2 million home, I still don't really think that we're going to see the value of your house plummet or drop at all because of the low inventory. Now, hit me up in a year. A year from now, rates may have continued to rise and inventory will have continued to rise, and we may see the market totally slow down even more dramatically. But we need at least a year of a very slow market just to let inventory catch up. So for now, home values are fine. If you're waiting for the market to crash, I believe that you're going to be waiting a long time, because I really honestly don't think it's going to be crashing anytime soon. And I look forward to doing an episode. I'll do that again soon. I'll talk to you about why this isn't like 2008 and why we don't think the market's getting ready for a crash, but we do believe that it's going to stabilize and flatten out. So long episode today. Hope you guys found this information helpful. If you have any questions, please put in the comments or send me a DM and I'd be happy to help. If you happen to know anyone who's thinking about moving, we are always extremely grateful and appreciative of the referrals. So please keep us in mind and please share our information with them. Share this episode with a friend, and I hope you guys all have a great day.